Hey guys, Annie here. Welcome to today's video and welcome to another speed build. We're in the world of Willow Creek and we are building a 4x2 bedroom family home. If you haven't met me before, my name is Anna and I'm an Aussie who loves to build in The Sims, preferably The Sims 4. I did start playing the game when Sims 3 was out, but I only started building when actually around the time Cottage Living came out, so quite a few years ago, and I've been building ever since. And yeah, anyway, back to this particular build. So initially I was going to build a one-story home and it was had a very simplistic layout, and as you saw I started with a big rectangle and had some symmetrical bump outs on either side. And what ended up happening is as I was doing the floor plan, I didn't have enough space for bedrooms. So I then had to put a second story onto this build, which is a shame because I got to around this part with the shell and I really liked how it looked. And I thought that maybe if I was to have my time again with this particular floor plan, I would maybe change it slightly and make it into a smaller bedroom house and then, keep it one story because I do really like the layout. So in this particular build, I initially was going to make it completely base game only, and for the most part I do keep it base game only, but there are two components of this that kind of made me bend the rules a little. The first is the fact that in the floor plan I have a laundry room. So there is a room in the lowest floor that it made sense to be a laundry room. Now, obviously, laundry is not a base game feature in the Sims 4. So I had a laundry room, so I was going to have more than one pack in this build anyway. So because of that, I decided to, just go ahead and use other packs when I felt the need to. But for the most part, this build is base game. When I add the second story, I will also add a really nice bay window, which is front facing to the build. It's on the front facade and it's from Discover University, and it really does lift this build and make it absolutely perfect. It really has that classical kind of traditional family home and I really love it. All right, so we're inside and we're basically working out that floor plan now. So you walk in and you have a tiny entry hallway that then leads you into a living room. And then you have another section which we do play around with a little bit to create a bathroom and I believe the laundry. You then have the kitchen, and then on the far side, which is a longest room, you have a dining room. And because I had such a lot of space in that area, I think I do add in a bar as well. And yeah, it was an interesting floor plan, but as you can see from here, there is absolutely no way I could fit in bedrooms. It was just the way that I'd laid it out, and I guess how wide the actual ground floor was itself. Like if you measured from the front door to the back door, there's just not a lot of space, and how I did the bump outs. So in the end, I did have to add in a second story just to be able to have bedrooms. I did have this kind of area on the far right side of the build. So obviously because it's symmetrical, so on the left side you have the kitchen and dining, and then on the right side you have this like skill room. And I decided to add in a skill room in this build. It was the best use of the space. It was at this point that I decided to add on the second story, and I basically just kept it in the same kind of symmetrical pattern, and I think it worked out well. So this is more our final shell of the build, and again I do keep with the color scheme. I just keep the pale sliding with the brick foundation. I love these yellow flowers. I think they complement the brown that's in the brick really well. And I'm just going around and adding all in the colors in. What else have we got? So windows. So this is this is the bay window from Discover University that I've used. There's something about it that I felt looked really kind of dated and worn, and I thought for a family home that kind of has more like a weatherboard colonial vibe, that it fit the space quite well. I've added in a few details and yeah. Okay, so we're just adding in the staircase and we're doing the upstairs. So I've added the staircase into the hallway that's located towards the back of the build. So that then wraps around into the skill room, and so forth. Okay, upstairs you have a further you have 4 bedrooms upstairs. Sorry, all the bedrooms are upstairs. You have a master bedroom, I believe maybe an infant's room, a small powder room. So I think that bathroom might not be a full bathroom. There is a full bathroom downstairs. That could just be a powder room, which would be a toilet and a sink, but I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. I'm just at this point mapping out the wallpaper for all the bedrooms. I like to do this because if you've watched my videos in the past, you would know that I like to have a color theme for all my bedrooms, and it helps me with decorating and picking the assets. So for the most part, as I said, this is a base game only build, and we are building this on my favorite lot in Willow Creek. I think I build on, I think it's the lot that I default for family homes. All right, so I've gone in with a plain, not plain, it's more of like a beige concrete slab, and that's to create the pathing. We're then going to start with the landscaping. As usual, I start with my trees. I had already mapped out the fencing for the backyard, and I've put in obviously the faux carport situation. I'm going in with some lay-lowing flowers and this big kind of fern. It's not a fern, I don't know what it is, leafy plant. I love this thing. I used to use it a lot in my earlier builds that I'd create, and I like to use it sparingly now. Hydrangeas, a very typical thing that I will use in most builds. I did want to follow along with the yellow, so yellow and white was definitely more of the color scheme with the flowers. Again, I think it just complements the building so well. Looking back at the bay window, I do think I should have gone with a different swatch. I just think that the white kind of blends in a little too much with the white sliding that we've chosen. But yeah, I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Your thoughts on the color scheme of this house. Do you think it was a good choice that I chose? All right, so in the backyard, we have a little section that I've kind of fenced off for a gardening section. I've then put in some monkey bars. And as I said, at this point, I still was trying to keep things base game. Not really sure why, because I'd already used a window that was not from the base game. So I definitely could have added in a lot of assets to the landscaping or the backyard that weren't necessarily base game. I do think what I do from memory with the furnishing of this build is I furnish a lot of the main rooms of the house and I use only base game, and then I go back and I add in a lot of non-base game stuff. So things like decor products and just random stuff. I think I put a gaming console in the living room and just activities and things, because I definitely think that a lot of the more recent packs have better activities just in general, whether it's for every stage of life. Okay, so I've put in a chess table on the front porch. On the back porch, I think I just put in some benches. I've put in an easel. All right, so starting from the front door, we're doing the entry. And as I said, I did spend a lot of time furnishing this, trying to make it base game only to then realize that I don't need to. But I got to use a lot of assets that I don't normally use, like that speaker, that smart speaker. I never use that in any build, so I've added that in. I really loved that colorful shelf with the jacket on it. That was part of a base game update that we received, I think, last year. So I thought that was quite a colorful pop to the entrance. I put in a runner rug. You then walk into the open living room. These are my favorite base game couches. I can't remember if I changed them to the orange swatch or not. I do. So I've gone with an orange swatch and it's coming back to me now. So when last year we got a base game update that had a lot of like West African inspired pieces. And this build suddenly turned into a really like warm tone build. So I use a lot of warm tone colors, and it's quite interesting because you look at the exterior of the build and it looks like a classical weatherboard Sims house, and then you go inside and the actual color scheme is a lot more like deeper. I don't know. I thought I feel like the outside of the home does not match the inside. But I still think it's furnished really well. And as you can see, I kind of loosely furnished it because we'll be going back and adding in some non-base game items. This is the bathroom. So this is the downstairs bathroom. Pretty confident it's the only full bathroom in the house. I think the upstairs is a powder room, but I'm not entirely sure. We'll see when we move upstairs. I've tried to use the colors that we've used throughout the build. I thought those sunflowers looked really good because of like that shade of yellow is the same shade of yellow that's in the painting, in the living room, and just using a lot of warm tones throughout the house. Deep wood tones as well, like a dark wood tone. It's very contrasting to the white walls. We are moving into the kitchen. So this is through the hallway. You have quite a large kitchen in this house. And then I do just put some upper cabinetry. And I think I put in a hutch across from here. I might even, when we go back and add other things, I might make space for pets and stuff like that. This is definitely a home that would fit all of that kind of stuff in it. It's a pretty decent size home. I would say, yeah, it's pretty standard 4x2 bedroom home that I designed. So nothing crazy in here. I did have some issues with the cabinetry, trying to find out the best configuration for it. I ended up using this little cork board. We got this as part of, I think it was the Best Friends Forever event. And so yeah, I used that because like at this stage, I'm still using only base game. So I put in a china hutch and I've gone in with basic blind curtains, plain curtains from the base game. And I think I still keep these even after I, use other packs. All right, so this is the laundry. This is the dining room section. So this is the far left side of the build. And as I said, because this build was symmetrical, I had these two kind of lengthy sections in both the left and the right side. So this is on the left side, so it made sense to be a formal dining room. So I would say that this build is definitely more of a closed floor plan. The archways do make it feel a little bit more semi-open. It does have a semi-open feel, but I would say it's more closed than it's definitely not as open. And yeah. All right, at this point, I decided to go ahead and make this a little laundry room. So I have added in the washer and dryer and some cabinetry, and I think I put in some decorative stuff in there. Also, something that I've added in was that one tile wide bar object. I really like that. I think that it's a great way to incorporate a bar in a household, but not have it be overwhelming, because I feel like the bars are massive in this game and it's just very overwhelming. Okay, we are in the far right side and this is that hobby kind of area. So I've put in a piano and I believe I put in maybe a cards table and a couch, and I think, yeah, it's just a really cozy space. I might even add a like a bookcase and whatnot. So yeah, I've just gone in with this couch. I love this couch. This is from the Comfy Kish kit and it's that beautiful kind of like sage green. I really love that color. My favorite bookcase, it's crazy to me that it's one of my favorites, but it's actually from the Basement Treasures kit and I use it non-stop. And I think the reason I like it so much is it's worn and it's a good size. Like, it's not a bulky bookcase. So like it's really easy to use and incorporate in builds. All right, we are upstairs. I kind of spoke over the foyer of the upstairs, and we're now moving in to the bedroom. So we're going to start with the master bedroom. I've used the bed that comes from Eco Lifestyle. I always forget about this bed. It's a bed I used to use a lot, but I feel like in recent years or so, I use like the newer content. This room in particular is extremely modern. I don't know why I do this, but I feel like with bedrooms, I kind of throw the overarching decor style out the window. So this is extremely, I would almost say it's like Scandinavian and modern. And the rest of the build is very much traditional. I would say, lots of wood tones and stuff. Don't get me wrong, we do use a lot of wood in like Scandinavian design, but it's more minimal, whilst the other stuff's not. Okay, the next bedroom is next door to the master and it is a nursery. So I've just made this for like an infant, and I would love to tell you that it's different to the ones that I normally build and decorate, but it's not. It's a very simple girls' room. And yeah, I feel like from playing with infants, you really don't need much. So I think that's why my nurseries always look so boring, because when you actually play with them, you really just don't need much. All right, so we are in the first child's room, and this is a really fun room. I loved the idea of using that kind of cubed cubby as like a bedside table, because it's so accurate. I feel like in kids' rooms, you have those little, like, I think they're like calyx straw things from like IKEA. And I know I have them in my house. I have board games in mine, but they're definitely good for like kids' rooms. I love the color scheme in here, the purples, and the pinks, and it's just a really fun, artsy type room. Okay, we're now into the final bedroom, which is a boys' room. This is also another child's room. And I've gone in with the little campus kit rug, and I'm just trying to like, I guess this is very blue in here, and I'm just trying to find things that kind of match the color scheme. I think the rug was the inspiration. The bed comes from, I think that both of the beds actually come from the kids stuff pack, or the kids room kit, or kids stuff room, kids stuff pack. I don't know. It's about kids. I don't know. Like, yeah. I put in marbles, and I put like a marble thing outside. I put in the same desk that comes from Growing Together. I really like this desk. Only thing I don't like about it is some of the wood tones. They're that kind of like cherry wood. All right, we are live in game, and we're going through the tour. So you enter in, you have your narrow hallway, which I'm just going to add in the alarms. You enter then through to the living space. And then off the living room, you have the downstairs bathroom. I've made sure to put a laundry basket in there. You head through to the hallway. You have a little study nook there. I am going to add in a computer because I forgot. You have a laundry, which has your litter box, because I guess I've furnished this home to have a cat. Head through an archway into the kitchen space, and in through to the dining area. As I said, I've used orange and yellow predominantly, and brown throughout the entire build, which I don't know. I feel like you don't get that vibe from the exterior of the build, so it's quite interesting. Head through to the right side of the build. You have that study room. Upstairs, you have a simple foyer area. So a second full bathroom. So I've got a shower tub combo that I sneaked up there. You have that boys' room, the child's room, which I think this is my favorite room, this girl's child's room. It's really fun in there. A simple nursery, and a very modern master bedroom. You then head back outside. You have an easel, you have a gardening section, you have a kids' play area, you have a grill and an umbrella table and whatnot. And that is the build today, guys. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider like, commenting and subscribing, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.